because flawed agad yung in-approve nila na kwento. And so I had to come in and try to find a way to make it work. During that time, during filming, I was also revising it. And then they were also asking the team to revise it. Pag dumarating sa akin, hindi nag-work yung revision nila. But there was also pressure to shoot already. And this is gonna be under my name. So parang ako, I had to come in and like, okay, on the set, on your toes, kailangan makompromiso mo yung ano yung sinulat ng team at ano yung hindi nag-work. And because I write myself, hindi na lang. Hinahabol ko sa set.
Ang hirap noon, on the set ka nag-a-adjust?
Yes po. Yeah, it was difficult. And it's funny because at some point, parang yung AD ko lumapit na sa akin, sabi, Direk, bago daw natin i-shoot, ipadala daw muna natin yung revision niyo sa camp. Kasi alam na nila na parang pag dumarating sa akin and may pressure na I have to do 6 sequences today and then hindi nag-work, kahit hindi ko gusto yung unang dumating na revision, I had to find a way na ayusin siya na nakokompromiso nga what I think should work, what I think should be written at yung nasulat na. So mini-merge ko yun. And I think at some point, nare-realize nila na nangyayari yun. Kung alam mo yun, finding a way to circumvent the system. And then, but the thing is, long story short, pagdating po ng premiere, I felt vindicated. Kasi even my AD was like, hindi ko na-realize na it will come together that way. And the thing is, there are many intangibles in a filmmaking setup eh. Ang dami mong hindi kayang sabihin na, tiwala kayo, nagsusulat ako, marunong ako, alam mo yun? So, ang hirap kasi, they just can't trust you because they trust more their system.
Yeah.
So, ang hirap kalabanin ng ganon. And sa totoo lang din naman kasi, Direk, it can go either way eh. I could have massively failed also, di ba? Maybe I could have buckled under pressure, kumbaga parang, you know, dahil sa pressure na nangyayari, hindi maganda yung nasulat ko. It could go either way. But that is the reality ng pagsusulat sa isang corporate setup and with so many things at stake. Kasi nung lumabas yung pelikulang yon, earlier in the year, merong first Sarah Gerald na movie. That was the one na si Gerald was anak ng presidente. Catch Me I'm in Love. Parang ganyan. Si Sarah Geronimo din. It worked so well na within the same year, may nadali nila na magkaroon ng ganyan. That's why, so yung kwento, hindi intact, hindi solid, pinagawa na
So it's a business decision to strike while the iron is hot.
Yes.
Alright.
And yun nga, sana kasi in any situation, whether mainstream or indie, or in anything that you do, story is king. You have to make sure that you prioritize the story.
Okay, so in summation, it's not easy working in movies because you have to please so many people, especially in a corporate setup. What you have here in front of you are 4 fools, okay, who have endured years of having to compromise and having to accept terms because movies cost millions. And if movies cost millions, therefore, the businessman is equally as important as the persons they're hiring to narrate. But, let's go back to the idea of corporate formulas. Now, let's go to February 2023. Rom-coms have recently opened in cinemas nationwide. In more than 100 theaters. And it earned a grand total of 200,000 pesos. Which goes to prove rom-coms are no longer cinema-worthy. Do you agree? And if so, why? What happened? How come, after the pandemic, the magic of the rom-com died? Let's ask the most senior of the specimens, Noreen.
Direct 20 years sa ano?
Na ikaw, Noreen, ba't sa tingin mo?
Hindi kasi diba, nung nag-pandemic, so na-stuck tayo sa bahay, na-introduce tayo yung mga sa streaming, sa ang daming dami tayong napanood. TV, series, shows, movies pala. Korean, di ba?
K-drama.
Thai, magaganda yung mga material ng Thai, di ba? Tapos, syempre, yung Hollywood, yung ganon. So, sa dami ng napanood natin, parang dahil nga may formula yung rom-com, nagiging predictable na. So, pag nakita natin yung trailer ng isang bagong rom-com, ay, alam ko na mangyayari dyan. Boy meets girl, mag-aaway sila din yung magkakatuluyan in the end, di ba? Parang ganon. So, I guess, yun yung isang reason, which hindi ko alam direct if that's good or bad na maraming napapanood yung mga tao, kaya hindi na sila, diba?
Ang sinasabi mo ba, Lorraine, tumaas yung antas? I mean,
Yes.
the level of taste has risen
Yes,
because
diba?
of the exposure to streaming?
Yes, ganon, exactly, na tumaas yung taste, ay, pwede pala maging ganito, ay, may ganito pala na hindi mo dating nakikita kasi you were exposed to the same materials dati, dahil ito lang yung napapanood mo, but because of the pandemic, because na nandun lang tayo sa bahay, ang dami nating napapanood diba, nako-compare na tuloy natin ngayon. When we see a K-drama na ang ganda-ganda, ang grand, diba, isang eksena lang, grabe, alam mong ginastosan, tapos makikita mo yung trailer, which is sad for the Philippine cinema dali. Kasi pag nakita mo yung trailer natin, hindi naman din afford kasi ng mga producers natin sa Pilipinas, yung ganun ka-grande na napapanood natin sa, diba, so, yun, so kaya dapat mag-invest sa story as, di ba, as content creators or sa story talaga na mas mahihirapan kami ngayon kasi mahirap magpa-approve ng concept kasi sasabihin.
Maganda niyan kasi sabi mo kasi kailangan mahihirapan tayo because we want to do something new but the producers are still insisting on 2019. Hindi ba? They're still insisting on more of the same. Wawa naman,
May
ano?
nga, diba? May metaphor sila, no? Parang nagpabili ka ng lechon, pero binigyan ka ng producer ng 10 pesos or 20 pesos. So, eto, bumili ka ng lechon. So, parang, paano?
Hindi buntot ng baboy, mabibili mo ng 10 pesos. Ange, what did you think? Do you think, what happened? Why is the magic of this highly sellable, highly favorable rom-com suddenly seemingly has lost its magic?
But honestly, Direk, I don't think it's a problem of just rom-com. It's all movies.
Yeah.
Diba? So, mahirap talaga bumalik sa sinehan ngayon. Tapos ang mahal-mahal pa, diba?
Grabe, no?
Sobrang mahal. 300? Para
400?
Wala ka ng popcorn noon, diba? Sobrang mahal talaga. And ito parang, siguro this is just something that's brewing in my head na wala naman akong nothing that I will say is based on facts. Pero may feeling lang ako that rom-com can actually be best enjoyed at home. Parang masaya naman talaga siya sa streaming eh. Honestly
Kayakap
ha.
ka sa sopa. Ganun.
Diba? Parang very cozy yung feeling, diba? Yun naman yung feeling ng kilig, diba? Yung gaganon ka. So parang feeling ko naman, parang kayang-kaya siyang mag-thrive pa rin.
Pero sa bahay, sa streaming.
Kahit sa bahay, streaming, diba, mag-movie night kayo ng friends nyo. Ganun naman yun eh, kahit siguro nung kabataan ko. Ganun rin naman kami na mag-movie night kami ng mga high school barkada ko, puro kami babae, manonood kami ng mga Meg Ryan, mga Julia Roberts, diba? Ganyan yung feeling, diba, na you can just enjoy it with the people that you love and in the comfort of your home na hindi mo kailangan magbihis at magbayad ng 300 pesos.
Hindi lang 300, 400 pa.
400 pesos.
Okay.
Diba? So feeling ko naman na there's a lot of hope for the genre. I'm not sure about, diba, cinema in general. Mahirap talaga magpapasok ulit ng tao sa sinehan. Pero the best stories, no matter naman what the medium or the platform is, can be appreciated by the audiences because of the story itself. Hindi naman yan dahil, diba, nasa big screen yan or nasa small screen or nasa Android ka nanonood, eh, hindi mo na siya may enjoy.
So, sabi ni Ange that the rom-com has best migrated into a platform like streaming because of its accessibility, blah blah blah, no? You think Filipino rom-coms have become so damn predictable?
I think the Filipino audience have been exposed to so much content, and that there is a higher standard for the local rom-com now. Whether that's from our own catalog or whether it's in from the global catalog. Just in the same way that digital cameras have democratized filmmaking, streaming has democratized film watching. And with that comes, dati pag sinabing, oy, there's this really nice Love of Sayang, BL, kung anong, actually hindi ko alam kung may term na BL before, hahanapin mo pa yun sa Quiapo. But now, you'll be able to find it, not just on streaming, on YouTube. It's available.
Yeah.
You would be able to find it. Now, I think what happens is that there are now a lot more criteria na ginagamit mo para pumili ng papanoorin mo. There is more novelty to store, there are more novelties to stories that come from other countries because they're windows to worlds that are fresh to us. And dahil hindi mo madalas nakikita yung sweeping vista ng Korea or yung pogi o ganda ng mga Thai or kung ano man yan, you tend to gravitate towards that. Meanwhile, ang local catalog natin have become, I hate to say it, pero like with the many rom-coms that have been created, it's become tired. Parang pag pinanood mo, it doesn't excite me as much as it used to excite me. Or pag pinanood nyo yung mga rom-coms, whether series or pelikula na napapanood nyo sa streaming na galing sa ibang bansa, if you break it down to its core, pare-pareho.
The same thing.
It's the same thing. But when you have as much money as the Koreans to produce it, whatever you set in Switzerland with snow swirling, it will always make you feel better. It will always make you feel more kilig. Meanwhile, we have to settle as filmmakers doon sa isang kanto na hindi pa nakikita sa whatever, sa Morato or sa
Subic.
sa Subic or sa kung saan man, di ba? Kaya pag minsan, di ba, nung nagkaroon ng Forevermore and then yung Baguio yung naging sa La Trinidad yung naging location, everyone was like, wow, and then naging ano na siya, naging tourist destination na yung La Presa pa yun or something like that, right? Because it's new, right? The standards for local rom-coms, local kilig films, mas marami ka ngayong kailangang hanapin. But at the end of the day,
It's still the same.
it's still the same. But I also believe that when it's a really, really great story, even if it's not completely new, tulad na sinabi ni Direct Joey, di ba? Parang like, may minamahal, yun na, may template na pinanggalingan. But it's how you tell the stories, in the insights, the perspectives that you present. You will be able to come up with a fresh telling of a story. Magkulat kayo. Kapag tinignan mo, grabe ba, dalang-dala ako sa pelikula na to, when in fact, para lang siyang ganung pelikula of old. Notting Hill is like Roman Holiday. Ay, ang dami, pare-pareho lang. Pero, there's something with the way still get the audiences to go to the cinemas.
Let's hope so. Well, right now, the trend is nagsushooting abroad, di ba? They're going abroad because they want... You know, that's so strange. Ang dami-dami pang untap na magagandang lugar na pwede mong puntahan na hindi ka naman kailangan pumunta ko sa amanlulok ng... Naku, hindi ko yung pinopropose mong project. Okay. You don't have to go abroad because there are beautiful places in the country which you can discover. Like, it's so strange that the foreigners are the ones who use these exotic locations in order to sell abroad. But ang magandang message dito is, guys, to our young writers, and the future young writers here in this forum, we cannot go back to 2019. The challenge is you have to think of stories which are more substantial, more challenging. It has to be Filipino but universal. Alam mo, nakakatawa nyo, we had forum nun dati with Korea. Do you know how long it takes them to put up a show, a K-drama? 1 year. Tayo, 4 weeks. Yung ganun sila ka-well planned. Tsaka alam mo, Ange, yung budget natin ng buong series natin, catering lang natin. So, you know, You give peanuts, you get monkeys. Okay, nowadays the competition is a worldwide market. And yan din ang challenge namin sa inyo, young writers. The world does not end with Batanes to Holo. You have to think a much larger market, which is proudly Filipino for the world. All right, having said that, now the floor is open for you to ask any questions to any of our three specimens of humanity here, who have spent their lives writing love stories to entertain you and give you kilig. If you have any questions, please approach Seth. Okay, I think there is somebody there raising his hand. Is that Seymour Sanchez? Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Mayor, okay ba? Okay.
Kasi lang, kasi we're talking about formulas earlier. And then, ginawa yata ni Ange ito before at the start of the pandemic, nung bin-breakdown niya yung ano na yun, yung kay John Lloyd tsaka kay Bea, na nakikipag-usap sila.
Yung one more. Oo, yeah.
Yun
Yeah.
sa,
Oo, parang nagkaroon ng, diba, like Instagram live si Bea
Instagram live.
Alonzo, I think, and then pumasok si Lloydie dun sa IG live, and then nagkasagutan sila, and then people, diba, sabi sila
trying to
kinilig.
find out if it's real or not. And then later on, you came up with your
May formula.
with your formula.
Oo.
So, ito, no, ito, bagong medium, no, dun sa IG Live. But what if you're using the formula sa same sex relationship? Kasi binabanggit yung meet cute. Would the meet cute work? Or would you need a meet cute for a same sex relationship na love story?
BLs, you mean? BLs are rom-coms. BLs are I don't know if people here are familiar with boy love series from Thailand, and then we came up with our own series, the best of which is Game Boys, and everything else that followed is everything else that followed. Okay. Mayor, it's the same thing. Because it all ends with a kilig
Do you
kiss.
have a rom-com in mind na walang meet cute? For example. Walang meet cute.
You know, I can come up with a rom-com with 2 geriatrics. Because the whole idea of rom-com is, sagutin nyo nga yan.
Mayor, like ako, one of my favorite rom-coms, sorry, this is Hollywood, sorry, pero medyo old na siya, pero My Best Friend's Wedding. But it doesn't start with a meet cute. Because the premise is not at all about meeting and then falling in love. But it's still about how one person is running after another. Diba? Familiar naman, no? Julia Roberts, Cameron Diaz, ganyan. So, I think while we have spoken a lot about
Pero technically, yung meeting nila sa airport ba sila nag-reunite? Diba sa start? Technically, that is still a meet cute, diba? Parang when you...
Again, so it becomes arguable terms kasi, diba? Kasi parang yun, that happens, but that happens with a huge setup of Julia Roberts laying the character of Julia Roberts saying na parang, oh, nag-text yung, this is my best friend. May sapat kasi kami na after 4 years, mag-meet kami kung single pa kami. 40 na ako. Parang ganon eh. So you're anticipating that, di ba? That's not a meet cute in the sense of kung paano natin alam ang meet cute, which is like two characters, completely different backgrounds, suddenly some absurd but beautiful kilig situation brings them together, sparks, and then we follow the journey of whether they will fall in love or not. I know we've spoken a lot about formulas about stories, but the thing is, it's I think, again, you go back to, kaya nabanggit ko yung tungkol sa characterization sa characters ng stories. Because finding the right characters and then finding the right situations to put those characters in will always give rise to us like either manadala tayo sa journey nila or will be rooting for them to come together. That in essence is what a rom-com is. A rom-com is always going to be like rooting for the two of them to be together.
Get together.
Yeah, and that doesn't always end that way. There are really great rom-coms na hindi sila nagkatuluyan. Again, My Best Friend's Wedding. That's why I love My Best Friend's Wedding. It's like, it's an achievement for me to have like bucked the formula.
No, tsaka Raz, music played such an important role.
Exactly. Again, production elements, so many things coming into play. Imagine mo ang bida mo, villain. Diba? Masama yung ugali ng villain mo, trying to break up two people, and yet, kabit na kabit ka dun sa kwento. Diba? 500 Days of Summer. Hindi sila
I love that!
Hindi rin sila nagkatuluyan in the end. But you were there for the journey. Diba?
Raz, remember that final line in 500 Days of Summer which really had me kilig crying? Yung what's your name? Otto. Punyeta! Sabi ko, wow, yung kapaw! Rom-com!
Yeah, exactly. So, yun. So, parang like, halimbawa with that, I think there's a danger where na parang, okay, so, kasi we know the idea of meet cute eh. So, how can we reinvent this meet cute? Diba? But again, I go back dun sa, I guess dun sa nasabi ko na, I think more than anything, kilig stories, romance comedies, romantic comedies, they're really more about characters and situations. And us being along the ride with them, hoping for them to get together. But again, with the disclaimer, with the caveat na, yun nga yung ano eh, yun yung mga innovations, they don't always need to get together in the end. But it also doesn't mean na hindi siya magiging satisfying sa atin as audiences. I still watch My Best Friend's Wedding until now.
And I still watch 500 Days of Summer twice a year.
Tsaka, sorry, can I just add also, since parang nabanggit rin naman ni Mayor yung tungkol sa BL, parang I think what's really interesting for this upcoming generation, kasi nga, di ba, parang may mga trends naman yung rom-com, di ba, over the years, from yung fairy tale, sweeping ending, to biglang naging hugot films, tapos mga travelog, ganyan. Ganyan na nagpa-pandemic tayo. Parang we're going into more, di ba, I guess you can say smaller, intimate stories, but also with a wider lens of the world. Because we're so politically and socially aware already that parang we're realizing, I think, a lot of the stories at least that are coming out na love may not be the most important thing after all, di ba? Parang because there might be more political forces at play. So, for example, with regards to gender, for example, parang I'm excited to find out how we can further bend the tropes of rom-com. Diba? Now that we're more aware, accepting of the different types of people that can come beyond the stereotypes that we're so used to from the fairy tale tropes from 20 years ago, di ba? Hindi na yung parating, may lalaking macho na siya yung nagpapakilig sa isang babaeng quirky, di ba? Hindi na ganon ang mga rom-com ngayon. And as Raz said, di ba, ultimately, it's a story of two compelling, relatable characters. And it's up to you whether you want to tear them apart, but they are forced together to be together pero ayaw nila, or gusto nilang magkasama sila pero the world keeps, diba, pushing them apart. Yun lang naman yung pinaka-template ng rom-com, diba? Whether may meet cute or wala, may happy ending or wala, yan ang template ng rom-com.
No, at saka, I think the rom-com, it's not more of the destination, it's more of the journey. And the journey involves not necessarily just the plot, but interesting characters and the chemistry that happens in between them. Okay, questions? Yes, there's a young lady here. Oh, okay, wait. Can we have the young lady first, and then that gentleman, then that gentleman? Young lady? Eto siya, eto. Ito na lang kay Ras. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Lori from PUP. So before I echo my sentiments, so I would just like to say that this Punto de Vista really helps me to write a lot of in the future. So my question is the Philippine cinema ready for BL or GL series? Or, I mean, let me rephrase that. Is the mainstream media ready for BL or GL series? Kasi that's the problem that that I'm seeing right now because nagiging bland na siya, like 200 million, parang nagda-die down ng ating rom-com. So, that's the problem kasi yung mga nakikita namin sa like Thailand, very in demand ang BL and GL series. So, as a as a screenwriter, are you ready to write that kind of series po?
Okay, question is Philippine mainstream ready for boy love and girl love series to hit mainstream platforms?
Honestly, I don't think it is, and it's because of the market forces that govern the industry. Kasi like a lot of the spending that you will need to put into that, parang naaapektuhan yung decision making ng mga ano, and magugulat kayo na a greater majority pa rin hold conservative values. And for it to be put on mainstream would be surprising, and I mean, I hope I'm wrong about this and don't take my word for it. But it's possible that many could find offense in that. Sadly, I'm not saying that that should be the case. And in fact, I think hindi tayo malayo sa cusp of that turning around. One project na biglang maglalakas loob na maglagay doon and is just all the right elements at tama yung kondisyon could actually be a massive hit, and that will turn the tide. But to be honest, right now, I don't think because of the many factors in play, hindi pa lang ngayon na ngayon. I don't know, maybe end of the year pwede na. Pero ang punto ko lang is that, kasi di ba direct, ganun ang dami nung halimbawa, kami sa ABS, we get that na para sasabihin na, oh, we still can't do Viva Max stories. Kasi corporate values ng ABS, hindi ganon So, may ganon agad. And magugulat kayo na pag yung lahat ng nanonood ng probinsyano, na napakalaki pa rin ng ratings up until the very end, even when it wasn't on a Channel 2 franchise anymore, pag lang maglabas ka ng ganyan, may clash na yon. So sad na there are forces like that still at play. And magugulat tayo in the same way na nagulat ako na yung sinundan kong kandidato ay natalo at mas marami pa rin ang naniniwala sa historical revisionism. Magugulat ka. Pero kasi totoo yun. Totoo na halimbawa kayo ng mga barkada nyo na college students, enjoy kayo ng BL, but you are a slim margin in the grand scheme of things. Magugulat kayo na ang mas marami ay yun pa rin may ganong klaseng values pala na, dalawang babae, dalawang lalaki? Mali yan.
Ano may sagutin ko din yan, Kating-kating ko sagutin. Alam mo it's yung ating social and cultural environment. Lagi ko sinasabi sa mga klase ko, one of the biggest irony in this country, it's this one country, I think the only remaining country in the world that does not recognize divorce, has a major entertainer who's a transgender.
Blockbuster hit pa rin.
Yeah, blockbuster hit movies. Where does the Catholicism come in here with such conservatism, but then at the same time appreciating, admiring, and investing money on an openly gay transgender character? But you see, when you see that character as a comedian, you are there to laugh at him, but not to take him seriously. The moment you go into the BL range of you have two people of the same sex expressing serious love and humanizing them, you will get a reaction from the cultural elements which surround you, which involve religiosity, etc., etc. God, I hate to say it. Mga ipokrito tayo. Okay, how we are perceived by people is more important than who we are. Okay, kaya yung pananansya is so important. Paninimbang is so important in our culture. Will there come a time in which BL series will be accepted? It became very, 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 very popular, but it was consumed in niche markets, which are streaming platforms, which tulad sabi ni Ange, they're private viewing. But when you show it in public, hindi, at saka alam mo, just to further add to that, yung mga series na ginawa ng GMA, which have gay characters, maingay sa internet. Walang gusto mag-sponsor. Wala siyang advertising. Kasi, labag yun sa values daw ng pagiging Pilipino. Labag sa merkado. Kaya medyo, I hope there comes a time that we have that maturity.
Direct Joy, idagdag ko lang din po. And kasi, hindi ibig sabihin nga na hindi natin siya makikita ever. Like, probably, but pwedeng maglabas na sila yan, ilalagay nila dyan. But either ang mangyayari siguro dyan is it's so sanitized na parang hindi na makatotohanan. Diba? I mean, makikita nyo na hindi naghahalikan yung dalawang babae o dalawang lalaki. When in fact, makikita natin yan if it were a straight story. Diba? O kaya, ang pwedeng mangyari dyan is they'll put it in really terrible time slots. Or yung tipong pang late in the evening kasi yun yung medyo mature na. Diba? Parang ganon. Or something like that. So many things have to come together. Because ang isa rin sa hindi masyado natin na pag-uusapan is that it's an industry. For us to be able to continue creating good works na ma-enjoy ng lahat ng manonood, it has to be sustainable. So kung hindi magpapasok ng pera para makagawa ng ganitong pelikula, hindi magtutuloy-tuloy ang paggawa ng ganoong klaseng content. So even those, yung mga our brands, di ba parang ngayon si Sasa Girl ay White Castle Whiskey Girl na. I mean, kailangan mas marami pa ang magkaroon ng ganong klaseng openness so that even the market forces, even the economic context will be supportive of it.
Panoorin mo The Last of Us Episode 3.
Yes.
It's a question. Yung dalawa na lang na in-acknowledge natin, ha kuya? Okay. Lapitan mo.
Hi, good evening. I'm Joseph Sares. Question ko lang, yung connection dun sa diniscuss mo. Do you believe in the movie industry there is a mafia that manipulate like yung sa team na KILIG na yun ang selling point? We believe love makes the world go around, but money makes the world go around also. So, as a moviegoer, ano yung binibenta ng producer, inuutos ba sa inyo yon na in real life na ibenta yung ganong kilig o yun ang gusto ng ano ba tawag nun si Masa ni Aling Pasing. Aling Bebang, Aling Pasing. So, plus yung ano ba nyo ina-apply yung cinematic approach for selling yung movie as a maging blockbuster. Na in reality, how you sustain love if you cannot have money in this third world country?
Okay. Ano yung isa-isa tayo? I don't think may mafia necessarily. Pero ang katotohanan yan is because the big corporations dominate the industry. Kasi, halimbawa, tayo, kahit ako noon bago pa ako magtrabaho for Star Cinema, may connotation agad na, ay, gawang Star Cinema, maganda yan. Especially maganda yung rom-com yan. Diba? So, ang nangyayari ay, yung mga people in position of power, they find a way to kailangan alam na natin yung formula kasi yun yung mas madaling paraan na masisigurado natin yung success ng produkto or ng pelikula. Pero magugulat kayo na, oo, may givens lagi yan. Yung palang yung palang love team pa lang di ba? The fact na si Catherine at saka si Daniel ang gawin nating bida. Ano na yan directive na yan Sino bang ginugroom ng management? Sino bang inaano nila? So doon pa lang may decision na sila Pero kayo, hindi sila yung nakakakilig, so tama yan, di ba? So, parang chicken and egg siya. Pero magugulat kayo na, halimbawa, ang directive lang sa amin, gumawa ka ng pelikula. A Very Special Love was like that. Gumawa ka ng pelikula for John Lloyd and Sarah. And totally blank slate. Ako ang bahalang mag-isip. Walang directive na, gawin mong ganito gawin mong medyo ganito gawin mong ganyan-ganyan, or kailangan may ganitong classic except. Nothing like that. Ako lahat ang nag-isip ng ito yung kwento, ganito yung ganyan-ganyan. And they loved it. Nagkataon na that worked for them. So I think it's both. Meron at meron talagang impluensya ang mga tao nasa kapangyarihan, nasa pwesto doon. Pero at the same time, malaki ang role ng mga writers na tulad ninyo upang magdikta kung anong mag-work. The proof is in the writing. Kahit hindi nila inakalang mag-work yan, pag binasa nila at wow, pwede pala to. In fact, one of the feedback ko sa akin for one of my earliest rom-coms, it's called You Are the One. Si Tony Gonzaga naman at saka si Samuel Dion. Nung first na nila nakita yung draft, ay marunong pala magsulat si Raz. Kasi I was already on the brink of not being renewed sa Star Cinema because I was stubborn, I kept writing kung ano yung what I felt was good.
That's bad.
I know. And then, but there was a requirement na pagdating dun sa huli, kailangan magsulat kayo ng full screenplay. And then, nagkataon na I chose to write something na na medyo mas mainstream. Nagulat sila na, kaya pala. And so that's why I got to write that project. So you will be able to surprise them. If you will be able to surprise them, then that's what works. So, wag niyong i-discount yung kaya niyong dalhin. You just have to do the hard work. You have to do all the preparations. Kung may training or kung pagsusulat, writing, you get good at writing by writing. So keep on writing, keep watching films, get better at it, and prove to them that you can make something work. And then pag nabasa nila yan, kahit hindi nila inaakala na pwedeng mag-work, they will bankroll it kasi makita nila yung value.
Nangyari na sa akin madalas yan. And saka, I get the most challenging combinations in Star Cinema before. Example, alam mo yun, napapangkitin ko na yung names natin. Tinawagan ako, okay? I was in my car, tinawagan ako. Joey, gawa ka ng pelikula, romance. Sino artista? Aga and Sharon. Sabi ko, okay. And that is, sana maulit. Ako na lang sana. Kung ako na lang sana. Of course, I can't make them act like teenagers because of their age. So I made it a story of friendship. Okay? And another one. Everybody identifies Judy Ann with Piolo. Eh, nagkain laban sa star, si Judy Ann at si Ryan. Joey, gawa ka ng Judy Ann Ryan. Sabi ko, patay. Everybody's expecting Piolo. Okay, can Judy Ann work without Piolo? It's a challenge. You challenge yourself with a Judy Ann Ryan. So that became kasal-kasali-kasalo. It's a matter of just twisting the way that you want the audience to see your actors. And that's the challenge as a writer and eventually as a director. Does money make the world go round? Yeah. Life may be lonely at the top, but food is better. So, business is money, di ba? So you just have to make the most out of it and enjoy it and make it a challenge. Okay. Final question na. Okay. Pumili ka dyan kung sino gusto nyo mag-final question. Seth, pumili ka. Okay. Sorry, a final question kasi nagagalit na ang Cinematheque. Sino? Pumili ka na. Abutan mo ng microphone. Sige na. Naku, unfair ka. Pinili mo yung bata. Sige.
Hello po, Direct Joey.
Hi po.
I'm Dave Ramirez from Vinyl Film.
Okay. 4 na to.
Sir, baka bagsak na po ako sa thesis.
Sige, ano yun, Dave?
A question for the four of you.
Okay. Sila na lang muna.
Hypothetically lang to. If the rom-com genre were to completely be gone or will not exist in the near future, what genres would the four of you will invest or explore upon?
Doreen. Kung mawawala raw ang rom-com, what genre would you want to get into? Ako, let me guess, action.
Bilang ang probinsyano. Kapag kaya mo naman ng rom-com, kaya mo na rin magdrama, kaya mong magsulat for sitcom, kaya mong, syempre may action din dyan. I mean, horror din dyan dahil madalas na karakter sa rom-com takot sa commitment or something, di ba? Ah,
Kilig.
so yun, yeah. So, drama, it's parang maging real lang na tayo. Hindi naman kami ang magde-decide kung ano yung gagawin namin. Kasi we have producers who pay us or who commission us to do things. Kasi if it were up to us, gagawin namin kung ano yung gusto namin. But then, wala naman kami pambayad ng bills, pambili. So, kung ano yung sabihin ng producer na gawa kayo ng ganito, susunod kami. Sabi nga ni Ras, being on good soldiers, diba? So, pero I think, kung wala talagang rom-com, magsusurvive pa rin naman. I mean, magta-thrive yung drama, family drama. Kasi, bukod sa kanina sinabi na lahat tayo naman Filipino, romantic and loving, mga Pinoy din naman is madrama. And we have yung family values natin, di ba, ganon. So, yun, pwede naman. Yes, Ange?
Ange, ikaw, what genre would you like to explore in the event that you know you're not doing a rom-com?
Ako, honestly, parang even since student pa naman ako, parang yung mga gusto ko talagang movies, yung mas nandun sa quieter mood-ish films. Parang what later would become like mumblecore type,
Ah,
diba?
okay.
Na parang
You all know
may
what's
konting
mumblecore,
daldal,
right?
o parang wala masyadong
Tok, tok,
plot, o wala masyadong plot, ganyan, parang mood lang, ganyan. So, parang I've always honestly been drawn to those kinds of films naman talaga. And, coming of age, pero feeling ko medyo of age na ako. Masyado na akong matanda para intindihin yung mga problema ng youth, ganyan. But, parang, that. But also, to be fair, I think for the past year, couple of years, I've also been tapped by directors na huwag gumawa ka ng action, ng thriller, ng horror.
Really?
Oo, tapos, hindi ako nagsusulat ng ganyan eh. Hindi ako nanonood ng mga ganyan eh. But it's a fun challenge to really try out a genre that you never thought number one, you might be interested in and that you never thought that, you could do. Kasi it taps a different side of your creativity, diba? Hindi lang siya puro pakilig or padrama. It's taps a different style and then you get to experiment with your craft also. It's fun.
Direct.
Ako, I'm drawn towards mga films about social realities, so medyo heavy, at saka I like dark comedies. So, and in fact, I try to do that when I get a chance to do my own material. I pursue that naman. Madalas, even when I direct for MMK, I really like it pag napupunta sa akin ay yung mga talagang tungkol sa people in jail or people in the marginalized sectors. Kasi nga, may tendency na hindi yun yung madalas na ginagawa or nakukwento in the mainstream. So, I like that.
Ako 2 months na I've been yearning to a movie like Parasite or a movie like The Banshees of Inisherin. Parasite because it's a social statement without being in your face. Because it plays with metaphors and images and uses the cinematic language. And Banshees because it deals with friendship. It's quiet. It has no great dramatic highlight, but it says so much about the human condition. But then, my dear student from CSB, it would take a miracle nowadays for a producer to invest in a movie like Parasite or The Banshees of Inisherin here in our country. But then we can keep on dreaming. Which brings us to a conclusion, okay, of this get together. Guys, if there's only one takeaway that we want you guys to realize is that, writing is not just merely a profession, it has to be a passion. It has to be a passion. It has an act of purgation, it's an act of significant human experience, but for whatever reason there is, you have to keep on writing. We've been always asked, paano ba sumulat? Ang sagot namin, simple lang, sumulat ka. At hindi ka lang sumulat, magbasa ka, manood ka ng mga sine, palawakin mo ang utak mo, dahil habang lumalawak ang utak mo, lalong lumalalim ang sinusulat mo. And for you kids, God, you're living at a very interesting time. God, the post-pandemic age is so interesting because we don't know what is going to happen. But one thing is for sure, we can't go back to 2019. The world has changed and you are going to be instrumental to the changes that's going to happen. I, in my age, would like to sit back and watch all of you bloom and create a beautiful future for Philippine cinema. Maraming salamat sa inyo. Thank you. Thank you, Direk. Thank you, Ange. And thank you, Noreen. Okay, maraming salamat. Alright, is there anything? We'll have the photo option and what else is happening? Photo op? Okay, tatayo tayo. You have to give the certificates. Alika nga. Seth, come out and give out the certificates. Okay, come, baby. Come on. Alright. This is Seth Arce. Okay. Huwag mo lang iabot, okay? Alright, this is a certificate of appreciation, okay, from the Film Development Council of the Philippines in celebration of Cinesinta. A certificate of appreciation is presented to Ras De La Torre, direct from London. Okay, and also to Ange Pesuma. And to the one, and thank God, the only Noreen Capili. Okay. Oh, an announcement. Pretty soon, FECP will launch the Academic Film Society, which will bring together all the students studying films in all the film schools in the Philippines for various joint activities. And Cinematech will have little mini festivals of the best student films from all over the country, okay, so that you guys can get to know each other. And hopefully, by the end of the year, we're gonna come up with one big convention exclusively for film students. And we're going to launch the Student Assistance Program. What is the Student Assistance Program? You just wait. Kung kayo ay gagawa ng mga capstone o thesis projects ninyo at nirekomenda kayo ng mga eskwela ninyo, you can be given as much as 50,000 pesos to finance your thesis films. Okay, so please put that in mind, and what is important to you, you keep on making films, okay, because you are the future of Philippine cinema. Maraming salamat.
Ready po? 1, 2, 3. One more po.